My mother and I really enjoyed our time together in Victoria, British Columbia. Yes, we did high tea at the Empress Hotel, but my favorite part of the vacation was we went back to the Empress Hotel at night. And in the old men's smoking room, all that deep, dark paneling, they had what they called death by chocolate. It was a all-you-can-eat chocolate buffet, chocolate confections, chocolate desserts with wonderful dessert wines and port wines. Death by chocolate. If I'm going to choose my manner of death, that is so the way that I want to die. So after having just a wonderful time in Victoria, British Columbia, we took a ferry with our luggage over to Vancouver, British Columbia. And when we arrived at Vancouver, British Columbia, we've got all our baggage, our luggage with us. And I said, Mom, this is so going to curtail my shopping experience. It's too early to check in, but let's see if they'll just leave our luggage where we're going to be staying. And then we can go out and shop and explore and have a fun time. And so it wasn't too far to where we were staying. And as we're walking up to, she's like, we're staying there? Where did you find this place? I made the reservation online. And we walked into the lobby of the Pan Pacific Hotel. The lobby is way bigger than like 4 times this space. And my mom and I are standing there it was like, it just reminded me of that scene of the Beverly Hillbillies. And we arrived. And I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and like, are they going to let us into this place? We were so out of, this was no cut-rate motel we were staying at. So they had the check-in desk, and they looked as frightening as all get out. But off to the right, they had this little station, and the sign over it said, Concierge. And I thought, that guy doesn't look too intimidating. I don't think he would tell us that we're not welcome here. So we walked over and I'm like, we have a reservation here and we know it's way too early to check in. We were wondering if you could just keep an eye on our luggage until we come in and check in. He said, well, let me check. We might have a room already available. So he went on to his little computer and said, we do, 1 room available. Then he called over a bellhop. That's when you know you're in a different kind of hotel. When a bellhop comes over, takes your luggage, and shows you to your room. So we go up to this room. He opens the door to lead us in, and we all stop dead in our tracks. The room had been trashed. Absolutely trashed. I can't believe anybody would leave their hotel room in that condition. Just trashed. So he immediately went over to the phone in the room. He phoned down. He talked to the concierge. And then he says, come with me. He says, I'm sorry, there's no other room available. So he took us and our luggage back to the concierge. And he was so apologetic. And he was just like, I said, don't worry about it. I said, well, we're going to go and explore. As long as you keep an eye on the luggage, we'll be happy. He said, well, when you return, come and see me. I'm like, okay. So when Mom and I returned, we went over to the concierge and he says, I hope you don't mind. I upgraded your accommodations a bit. And we're like, well, okay. So he called over the bellhop and the elevator takes us to the top floor to a corner double suite. When we walked in the door, it was like, my mom and I each had our own suite of rooms within the rooms with a full living room, office area with a desk, and a bar on the corner with windows on 2 sides overlooking the area. As soon as he closed his door, I ran over to see what they charge per night for a room like that. I almost had to sit down. I'm like, people actually pay this much a night to stay in a room like this? But it was such a special experience for my mom and I. The only night of our travels that I didn't have to put up with her snoring the whole night because I had my own suite. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching live stream, I love you, but so what is the definition of a concierge? Concierge, also commonly called a guest relations manager or guest service worker, serves as a specialized customer service representative. They are most frequently employed within the hospitality industry, although there is such a thing as a lifestyle concierge who helps with personal matters. They provide information, advice, guidance, and assistance to people in all manner of things. That is what a concierge is. But in your thoughts of a concierge, do any of you find them as frightening, as intimidating as my mother and I did? Because see, I think the reality is too many people have experienced what is a bad concierge. A bad concierge who does not serve the business well, because instead of making people feel welcome, makes the people feel less than welcome. And something like that kind of happened in our Gospel of Mark today, chapter 10, verses 47 and 48. Bartimaeus, a blind man, son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. And hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. They rebuked him, telling him to be silent. Is that almost unbelievable? Somebody is crying out to the Lord, needing to experience the Lord's presence and healing in his life. And what do? Rebuke him? I mean, Christians would never, ever put any stumbling blocks in keeping people from the Lord, would they? Oh, Christians would never do that. We're all very welcoming of inviting everybody to come to the Lord, right? Yeah. How I wish that were so. How I wish there were so. Because some Christians, they don't seem to encourage people to go to the Lord. At least it's like, come to Jesus, except for you. You're a woman. Come to Jesus, except for you. You're not putting anything in the offertory. Come to Jesus. I mean, it's just like, for whatever reason, they make like Jesus part of some special, club that you have to do whatever to belong to, so exclusive and so out of reach. That's not what we're called to. We're called to emulate what the Lord does. I mean, we heard from the prophet Jeremiah how the Lord was going to be. In Jeremiah 31, verse 9, I will console them and guide them. I will lead them to brooks of water on a level road so that none shall stumble. The Lord doesn't put stumbling blocks in the way of people. He clears the way. He clears the path and calls us to do the same, to lead people to those living waters, to help smooth out people's rough lives, to keep them from stumbling, to help them to stand upright. You see, for this is what is a good concierge. In the Gospel of Mark chapter 10, verse 49, they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you. A good concierge brings them to the Lord, points the way to the Lord, helps them hear the Lord. A good Christian concierge provides information, advice, guidance, and assistance to people in all manner of things, guided by the teachings of Jesus Christ. Provide information, advice, guidance, and assistance to people in all manner of things, guided by the teachings of Jesus Christ. You see, the world needs to see more good Christian concierges now. The world needs more living proof of what it means to be a Christian that guides people to the Lord, that brings people to the Lord, that helps people to experience the Lord's healing, that helps them to see the Lord. This is what the world needs now, is living proof of what the love of the Lord has done for us, so that we could be living proof to others of what the Lord could do to them. Let us pray today that we will live our faith in such a way that it welcomes people, that it brings people to the Lord. Let us pray today that we will be good Christian concierges. That's an excellent conclusion. I know, it's like pa-dum-pum-pum.